Uh-oh. Hello, this is Ken. I like making things. I love finding affordable ways to DIY a variety of things. Money can't buy everything, except maybe figures. I love collecting figures and recreating iconic scenes. Every figure deserved to shine on my display. So every week I ask myself the same question, and answer it by creating something I'm proud of. Join my weekly adventure by subscribing to my channel. Leave your feedback and suggestions down below. I often get inspired by your comments, and I hope I can inspire you too. Last time, I made a diorama display for Loki and Sylvie, recreating the iconic moment on Lamentis 1, so they can join the other Loki variants on my display shelf. Check that video out. Today, I'm gonna fix Falcon and the Winter Soldier. A few weeks ago, I fixed their Infinity War counterparts and made them look way cooler. So I wanna do the same thing to the Disney Plus versions, especially now that Sam is Captain America. This figure is way better than the Infinity War Falcon, especially those wings. They are posable now, but I find it more difficult to keep him balanced. Overall, it's a great figure, but it has this plastic feel to it. And here's Bucky. His pants are better this time, but now he looks a bit on the skinny side. He's supposed to be a super soldier. I also find that he's hard to balance as well. And again, his facial hair still isn't correct. The colors on this figure are also very intense. His skin tone is super vibrant. His hair is jet black. It's like Hasbro pumped up the saturation for him. Let's deconstruct this figure. Let's start with the new Captain America. This is me being a bit picky, but I find that the blue on this figure leans a little towards purple. But when I think about Captain America, I envision more of a royal blue. Next, the silver in his boots look a bit too clean, making them look fake. They need a bit of grit and dirt. Another thing I need to fix are his gloves. They're supposed to be red and white instead of red and silver. And now it's Bucky's turn. I don't know what's going on with this jacket. I normally prefer more shading on figures, but this looks like he's been sweating for years. And his face is glowing. Oh, and those missing facial hair, of course. That's my analysis. It doesn't mean this figure isn't great. I just wanted to make it even better. So, can I make it? Let's fix Bucky first. I need to fix his leather jacket. I'm just applying a similar shade of blue all over the jacket, so I can brighten up the jacket and make the shading less harsh. I like applying thin coats of paint at a time, so that the color underneath can still come through. I find that if the paint is too thick, it'll look like it's sitting on top of the figure, and it'll look unnatural. I understand what Hasbro is going for with the shading, but because there are these two black vertical patches on the side of his torso, the shading blends into these patches. Our eyes generally perceive black as shadow, so the shading and the dark patches create a weird optical illusion where it makes Bucky's torso look extra skinny. So by defining the black patches more, it'll make Bucky look a bit bulkier. I also went in and redefined certain details like the zippers and the belt with a bit of black. Now because acrylic paint dries matte, I need to add a bit of shine back so it resembles leather. So I'm going to apply a thin coat of satin varnish over the blue. I just want it to be slightly reflective, and this will act as a protective layer too. Alright, there we go. That looks much better. Now onto his face. There's a bit of a printed stubble on his face, but it's barely noticeable, especially when his hair is jet black. Your eyes just go right up to his hair. His skin tone is also super vibrant, so I'm going to desaturate his face first. Okay, now he looks like he has caked on makeup. My figure has some dried glue on his forehead, so it makes blending a bit more challenging. And now his facial hair. I'm going to slowly build up the shading. This is quite tricky because his facial hair is quite dark, so I have to be extra careful not to add too much, but also add enough so it resembles a 5 o'clock shadow. There's a very fine line there. Once I cross it, it's going to be very difficult to go back. Alright, I have to stop here. Otherwise, the colors can get really muddy. His skin tone now looks more natural, and his facial hair balances out his face so much better. Let's put the head back onto the body and see. He doesn't look exactly like Sebastian Stan. But he looks less toy-like. Let's have a closer look. Actually, he looks better up close. He looks like an actual human being, especially when you compare him to the before. He also looks more serious now. He got that Bucky stare going on. Okay, now it's time to work on Captain America. I'm gonna apply this bluer blue all over the blue areas. I find the original color on this figure a bit on the darker purple side. It's very minor, but I feel like a lighter blue fits Sam's character better, because he's always so positive. Another good thing about going over the blue with the acrylic paint is that it will mattify the texture, because in the show, Sam's costume is made of some kind of fabric, so having his pants matte will give him that fabric feel. Next, I'm going to do some touch-ups on the silver, redefining the star and the stripes on his chest, and making the silver on the rest of the figure match the silver on the star. I also noticed that the paint application isn't that great, so I had to do some touch-ups here and there to make the colors pop more. Next, I'm applying the same satin varnish onto his gauntlets, so they look more metallic. It will also be a nice contrast against the matte fabric texture. Okay, I didn't plan on doing this originally, but I noticed that the white paint on this figure isn't consistent. Some areas look yellowish. Normally I prefer not having things in pure white, because it will look too clean. But in this case, the yellowish white makes it look like his costume hasn't been washed for some time. Okay, next I'm gonna paint the lower part of his gloves white. And to seal it off and protect the paint from scratches, I'm gonna apply a matte varnish over the white areas of the glove. Since he will likely be posing with a shield, I want to make sure the paint doesn't get rubbed off. I've listed the 2 varnishes I used in the description box. Okay, now I'm going to add some definition to parts of his suit, especially on his shoulders and arms. Kinda like what I did with the other Falcon figure, I'm going to paint the shoulder pad bits a darker shade of white, and I'm going to add some silver stripes at the top of his bicep pieces. I'm also applying the same silver right under his chest. These are some of the missing details from the show. They may seem minor, but kudos to the costume designer. These minor details balances out the suit so nicely. And finally, the boots. I'm applying a wash of black all over the boots, so they look a bit dirtier and heavier. And then I'll bring the details back out with the silver paint, especially those straps on his boots. Now for his wings. I'm applying the same blue over the quote-unquote blue areas. Just look at how purple the original color is. I'm also going to paint over the red areas to make the color look more intense. Now onto the head. I think this head's pretty good. There are only minor paint issues to fix. And just like the other Falcon, I find that his goggles make him look a bit bug-eyed. So I'm going to apply the satin varnish over the lens to make them look more glass-like. There's also some missing black paint on the rims of the lens, so I'm going to patch that up and thicken the rims a bit. Then I'm going to make the white whiter. The paint application here wasn't great. Alright, here's the finished head. Not much has changed. It's mostly the lens. They look so much more natural now. As for his shield, I actually fixed that already in my John Walker US Agent video. Check that out if you haven't already. Alright, here's Captain America all finished. He has a much brighter color scheme going on now, and I really like it. I think this brighter, cleaner look fits his character more than the original colors on this figure. And let's have a closer look at Sam. Ah, I love this so much. Minor adjustments here and there make such a big difference. Look at the before and after. The final version feels like an actual costume, especially his goggles. Now let's put Cap and Bucky together. There they are, all finished. My only complaint is that they're super difficult to balance. Sam can only stay upright at an angle like this, and Bucky will fall if I sneeze. Anyway, let's end this with the photo shoot. Wow, look at Sam. He looks so cool. I couldn't do a lot of unique poses due to balancing issues. but the wings make up for it. It kinda looks like a high-end figure now. I think I did a pretty good job. What do you think? Let me know down below. As for Bucky, he looks alright. I think I prefer the Infinity War version in a way. Actually, they're both fine. Not the best figures out there, but they look much better now. I love the Infinity War Falcon, but this new Sam Wilson looks so much better in his Captain America outfit. And here is Captain America and Winter Soldier. I tried my best with the poses. I had to keep them mostly upright, otherwise they would just keep falling. So the poses here aren't as dynamic as their Infinity War counterparts, but I love the new colors on them. Now I've finally finished fixing my Disney Plus wave. The reason why I did Cap and Bucky last is because I don't know what to do for the diorama. I also want to include John Walker, US Agent, and Zemo all in one diorama. Not only will it save some shelf space, it'll also make sure no one gets thrown into a storage bin. But in the show, they never all shared screen time together, and Sam only got his costume in the last episode. So the only location that makes sense is the construction site if I want to include most of the figures. I have a rough idea on what to do with the diorama, but I'm interested in hearing yours. How should I build it so it includes Cap, Bucky, the 2 John Walkers, and Zemo? Let me know down below. Nothing too complex though. It still needs to be able to fit into my display shelf. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Stay inspired and I'll see you soon. I can make it, so can you.